Hello everyone, and welcome to my EastEnders Soap Today channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Longtime rivals Phil and Ian will team together to attempt and rescue Ben Mitchell from his jail nightmare, according to spoilers for EastEnders. Ben, who was most recently portrayed by Max Bowden, was incarcerated in the US earlier this year, leaving behind his daughter Lexi, Isabella Brown, and husband Callum, Tony Clay. Scenes that have not yet shown see Ben's father Phil, Steve McFadden, and half-brother Ian Beale, Adam Woodyard, cooperating to support a loved one. It arrives when Kathy, Gillian Tailforth, informs Phil that their son is in danger upon her return from a trip to America. She continues by saying that Ian has stayed back to assist in finding Ben a better attorney. Kathy also requests that her ex-husband give Ben's appeal his full support in the interim. The young mechanic was startled when cops used an international warrant to arrest him in scenes that aired in March. His allegations stemmed from his unsuccessful attempt to force Lola Pierce, who was dying, to appear in a drug trial during a trip to America last year. Ben's credit cards turned out to be barred. He just borrowed someone else's card and spent thousands on hotel bills, a vehicle hire, and a business-class ticket home rather than paying for it legitimately. Ben pleaded with solicitor Richie, Sion Weber, for assistance, but she forewarned him that his actions could land him in an American jail for as long as 6 years. The aftermath of Ben's departure later infuriated EastEnders viewers, who said the character had been forgotten. Enthusiastic supporters pointed out that Callum and his daughter Lexi hadn't made much mention of him going missing. Quick with a response, one wrote, "Callum isn't very upset over Ben. I expected some heartfelt missing him emotion and sadness #EastEnders at EastEnders even him taking time to compose and take it in." Another person said, "I think Callum is completely over Ben and his sentence. He seems way too normal for someone who has lost his husband to 6 years in prison on the other side of the world." All three of the major soap operas have had storylines throughout the years that have caused even ardent fans to reach for their phones and laptops in order to complain to Ofcom. These are only a handful of the more contentious ones. 13,400 Ofcom complaints over EastEnders baby theft occurred in 2011 after Ronnie Branning, RIP, traded her child for Kat Moon's deceased son. Over the duration of the narrative, 13,400 objections were filed, the largest in the long history of the soap opera. Campaigners harshly criticized the storyline. Although some viewers found it horrific and distressing, Ofcom decided the scenes weren't unduly disturbing. A third superfan expressed their disapproval in a more critical manner, asking why Callum and Lexi weren't depicted coping with Ben's death. "We haven't even seen any aftermath regarding them. Why does Jay have to be at the center of everything? Lexi and Callum seem to exist only to advance his storylines nowadays, and it's ******** ing me off." In subsequent moments, viewers of EastEnders will learn more about Ben Mitchell's unfortunate circumstances. After 4 years on the BBC serial opera, Max Bowden departed the role of Ben earlier this year. His character is not doing well in prison at the moment because he was convicted of credit card fraud in the US. Kathy Cotton brought devastating news back to Walford after a recent visit to Ben in America with Ian Beale and Ben's daughter Lexi. Scenes that will show next week have Kathy speaking with Phil Mitchell after returning from the States and telling him about Ben's illness. She informs him that Ben is not doing well and that Ian is staying longer in the US in an attempt to secure a better legal representation for him. Kathy, who is worried about their kid, begs Phil to support Ben's petition with all of his might. A romantic turn has been portrayed in the soap opera regarding Ben's spouse, Callum Highway. Callum promised in March to stay by Ben's side and wait for him during his 6-year imprisonment. Callum recently developed a close relationship with Johnny Carter, who is going through a difficult period as a result of his mother Linda's hospitalization and relapse. In a recent storyline, Johnny got caught off guard when he moved in for a kiss, mistaking Callum's friendship for something more. The policeman told Johnny that he is still devoted to his marriage to Ben while gently pushing him aside. Since George Knight, Colin Salmon, will soon be seeing his brothers Kabina and Kojo for the first time, an emotional fall is in store for him in EastEnders. When George learned earlier this year that his adoptive parents, Gloria Knight, Elizabeth Council, and Eddie, Christopher Fairbank, had obtained custody of him through the farming procedure, he was distraught. When George was still a little child, Henry Kofi Asare, his birth father, made an attempt to return for him. However, Eddie brutally killed Henry, covered up the crime for 50 years, and is currently serving a prison sentence for it. Gloria sadly passed away, and George also found out that Margaret, his real mother, had passed away. However, he was still connected to Margaret and Henry by way of his two brothers. George chose not to communicate with his siblings, even though he wished he could reconnect with his Ghanaian roots. However, Kabina and Kojo, who wish to be close to George, will soon be returning to Walford with their family friend Angela, Susan Adarin. Angela revealed to the two that she had located Kwame, George's biological brother, who had been missing for a long time. But how will George respond when he sees his brothers in person, given that he is still coming to terms with the startling truth about his past? Actor Deo Koliosho, who is also autistic, will portray Kojo, the younger sibling who has autism. The actor has acted in serial dramas Casualty and Doctors, in addition to the BBC series Strike. In addition to playing Kabina, Jonathan Nyati has acted in Ted Lasso, Desperate Measures, and Doctors. Kabina will eventually realize he can't handle it and return to Ghana while the three brothers work through their shared past, while George offers to look after Kojo, who wishes to remain in Walford. While Kabina only makes a few appearances in episodes, Kojo will eventually become a regular character. We're delighted to welcome Deo and Jonathan to EastEnders to play Kojo and Kabina as we continue to explore George's story, executive producer Chris Clenshaw said of the newcomers. These three brothers have a lot of complicated feelings to process after a tragic event that tore them apart. When Kabina decides to leave, Kojo chooses to stay, which gives George the chance to be a big brother and also take on caring responsibilities. It's been absolutely amazing. I'm loving every minute of working with the cast and crew, Deo Koliosho continued in reference to his casting. The plot for Kojo and his family is amazing. It is a fantasy that has materialized. There are a lot of surprises, and I'm seizing every chance to collaborate artistically with other gifted performers. I am really honored to appear in EastEnders, a British soap opera that I grew up watching religiously, revealed Jonathan Nyati. Being a member of George Knight's on-screen family and plot is wonderful. I can't wait for viewers to be introduced to Kabina and his little brother Kojo as they arrive in Albert Square for the first time. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, so please don't forget to subscribe my channel and don't miss any update.